Hello there. Today we are going to talk briefly about potty training a child on the spectrum. My child specifically was diagnosed at a level 2. His behaviors, just some context around him and his life, and his diagnosis. Not very social. He was not very social, didn't tend to engage with others very much in terms of play. Did repetitive play with any object. Any object could get played with the same way, even though it might be a puzzle piece or a block or, even outdoor items would always get played with the same. And then there wasn't much speech, mostly babble. And so those were kind of some of the initial factors that we noticed that led us to even being open to an assessment and an evaluation. And so now we have progressed through several cycles of speech and our first cycle of occupational therapy as well, because there were also some behaviors that tend to pop up because of the lack of communication skills. So really trying to attack things from all sides nonetheless. Early intervention, ultimately starting at age about 1.5, and really taking shape at age 2. And so that's kind of like the foundation of where we are with our 2-year-old. Now, when it comes to potty training, I had a goal that I wanted him to have an idea of the bathroom and how to use it by age 3. Granted, parents can want one thing, kids can want another. So I definitely understand that. And also thinking about him and his person. What I do know is that he can retain information. He can learn all sorts of words now. Now he's at a stage where he's labeling a lot of words, forming phrases, manding for items, etc., etc. So this feels like a great time to start potty training. And also I've noticed that there are instances where at certain schools, daycares, where what have you, they do have a requirement for 3 years old and up or whatever age and up to be potty trained. His current daycare doesn't actually support potty training. They will apply whichever bathroom method works for that child. If they can go to the bathroom and they need to support them, cool. If they are diaper kids, then they're diaper kids. They are not in the business of actually potty training your child. So with him being at the daycare majority of his time and on the weekends, we're not always just at home. So we have had a slow start to even the big issue for us, which was consistency. We could not find just some consistency at home and time in the evenings, even after daycare, before he got in bed, to find a really good rhythm, or at least that's what it felt like. Dad was busy doing things, mom is doing things, while also trying to maintain, support, care for, engage with my little one. And so very stretched thin, very difficult to do. Nonetheless, my tactics until we were able to get additional support was introducing him to the language, introducing him to the context and the space, introducing him to the body parts that are involved in this whole bathroom systems. So heavily reliant on potty related books even about animals using the bathroom. And I can insert the different books that we used where he's like, this animal's poo-pooing, or this, we take our grown-up and we go to the potty. We pull down our diaper and we sit on the potty and we sing a song about it. And of course there's several videos between Miss Rachel and Gracie's Corner and all sorts of other videos that are out there. And so very reliant on those. And then again, also the language, naming his penis, naming the action or noun of pee. You pee, or this liquid is pee. That's poo-poo, or you poo-pooed. And then this is the potty, or underwear, or accident. So all of this terminology that goes into just understanding what's even happening here, what's the language here, what verbiage do I need to use in this space. And so although I thought to myself, commando is the way, like commando is going to be the way that he's going to learn, because if he continues to pee and sees the pee, he's going to get to know himself. He's going to get to know those urges. The hard part for me, or what seemed difficult, was that if I'm cooking or cleaning or doing this, stopping myself in the middle of those tasks to sit him on the potty and constantly taking those breaks for myself. Sometimes once you're in a task, you're in the task. And so nonetheless, multitasking to potty train absolutely did feel like a lot. It wasn't my priority. And so nonetheless, although I did commando on a few days when we did have time at home, sure, he would have accidents. I didn't mind cleaning them up. I knew what going commando was going to entail. But again, our main issue was consistency. Even though I started with commando sparingly, introducing terminology and allowing us to read books, stories, videos, etc. about going to the potty, that gave us an on-ramp to where we are now with ABA. I did receive suggestions at the time of thinking I was going to do commando with my son to not do commando. What's the pressure, with his diagnosis and these sorts of things. But I still think about the fact that he is very intelligent. He is capable of a lot. And that has been shown over his almost 3 years of life. And so, yes, I can adapt with him, but I also believe in the space that I'm in now as a parent who is educating my child, keep the bar high. Keep the bar high. And so we have adapted, and with ABA, the suggestion was commando. And I'm like, great, me and this BCBA are on the same page. Like, that's what I was thinking. And so we started out commando. Of course, there were a couple accidents, but we also noticed that he was holding it for a very long duration while his diaper was off, and even without a training diaper, training underwear. And so he would simply hold it. And I talked to Chat about, this is kind of what's going on based on the evidence-based research. What is being talked about in this space of potty training with a lens towards children on the autism spectrum. And so Chat actually suggested sitting him on the potty with his diaper, seeing if that makes a difference, because there is some diaper comfort there. Honestly, I don't know that. Oh, another suggestion Chat made was to sit on the potty for shorter increments, because at the start he was sitting on the potty, maybe every 20 minutes for a pretty long time, as long as he would sit, which could be up to 20 minutes. He was pretty tolerant of sitting because he was either reading a book, he was watching a video, or being engaged in some other way with a toy. And so he would sit for a long time. That first week that passed by, I kind of saw that he had a little, hemorrhoid on his backside. And I thought, okay, he might be sitting on the potty too long. And Chat said the same, because that's really where the question started. Like, how do I heal my baby's hemorrhoid? And then I got into thinking, okay, it could be correlated to sitting on the potty. So then we still sat on the potty in the same increments, about 15 to 20, but we decreased the time on the potty. In his occupational therapy, to also assist with transitions, because that was difficult for him and has been and can be, she actually used a visual timer, an app that does a countdown based on whatever time you put in, and as it goes down, that it reveals an image. And so that has been a pretty big game changer for my little one, because he's interested to see like what's going to be revealed at the end of that countdown. And he likes going tick tock, hearing the countdown go down, which I think is great. And so between the therapist being really open and adaptable, and myself also doing my research and seeing what might be best for him to aid in not only his comfort in his body, but also the progress of us getting to this potty business. What ended up happening was those 2 minutes on the potty, we actually started seeing him use it because he just wasn't sitting there. And so, of course, there would be times where he did not use it, maybe 3 to 4, even 5 cycles of him not using the potty when he sat on it. But between that 4th or 6th, maybe even 7th cycle of sitting on the potty, in the 2-minute duration, his diaper would be dry because he was used to holding it, or diaper dry or no accidents. And this was within 2 weeks of consistency. In the first week, we had 1 potty on a Tuesday, and that was it for the week, with opportunity for about 4 hours of practice a day. But it would range just depending on what we had going on as a family. So that first week, we only had 1 good potty. That by the weekend, he actually went to use the potty on his own. So we had a really amazing weekend where that consistency with the therapist and without the therapist was kind of drilled in. He's like, I'm going to sit on the potty really quickly and then I'm going to go play. And then I'm going to transition. I'm going to press the start button for the countdown. He's in control. And he presses the button, sits down or is sitting, and the 2 minutes go by and he's up. So he only has a short period of time to use it if he needs to, but also if he stays seated, it kind of gives an indication that either A, he's just comfortable, or B, he might actually have to use it. And that's what we've noticed when he chooses to sit longer to use the potty. So the visual countdown, I'll put the app up so you can see it, but that has been a game changer for us in transitioning him to the potty in such short durations, 15 to 20 minutes. Consistently getting him to drink has been a big issue while he's at daycare. I don't know that the teacher necessarily just wants to be changing a diaper or giving liquids that often. It makes more work for them. And I've noticed that my baby is often thirsty when I come to pick him up. But now that his therapist is there, I put an extra drink, a special drink to the side, and they sip on that while she's with him. And so we're hoping to increase his potty usage at school. One difference at school compared to at home is he has a travel toilet potty that we use. It's his size, he can easily sit on it, versus a typical toilet that is, has a kid seat, but it's a big potty. And it is different than the one he can just easily sit on. So we're seeing a high success rate at home because it's a kids, toddler travel potty with the bags that go inside. And there's also a difference when he sits on the potty at daycare, is there's not as much, he's just looking at those differences or noticing the differences, such as there's no bag or anything in here. I got to step up to sit on it, but nonetheless, I'm being asked to do the same thing, or it feels like a similar flow of requests and behavior of going to the bathroom. So those are some big differences, some wins, and some of the struggles that we had as a family getting our little one to use the potty, get consistency around the potty. But we are at a breakthrough with this weekend. And I may have been incorrect in saying it was 1 week. I think the first week we had some consistency. Oh, it was 2 weeks. The first week we had 1 potty, and the second week we had consistency. So by that following Saturday, that second Saturday of him having consistency Monday through Friday, and more on the weekends now, Saturday, the second Saturday, in that rhythm of the cycle of 15 minutes and 2 minutes, 15 minutes and 2 minutes, 15 minutes and 2 minutes, at almost the 15-minute timer, he went to the potty, and I'm like, you got to go to the potty. And he sat on the potty, and sure enough, I still went ahead and set the timer and everything for him, allowed him to set the timer. And sure enough, he used the potty. So it wasn't 2 weeks of just potty training, but it was 2 weeks of consistency, period. So we're not there yet. We're not at an independent potty stage, but we are at a place that feels, again, like a breakthrough, like we are taking a turn for more independence, which is all that my, mommy heart can ask for. So thank you for listening in, and feel free to ask any questions and leave comments. Bye.